Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. It is again time for, well, we're not actually in New York. It's quite hot and different from New York. There are no skyscrapers. Big mountain though. There's snow on top of the mountain. It's hot below the mountain in the valley. We are in Kenya near Mount Kilimanjaro. And this is the third scene of Jacob's Afro Challenge. Yay! Everybody, yay, 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 yay. Oh, never mind. Um,
Yay!
finally, some support.
No, don't be mean.
I am not mean. Well, I mean, I'm emceeing this, so I need to be at least a little bit mean. Morning has come. It is cool, although it's warming up rather quickly. And Jacob and his quote unquote friends, James and Ilya, are waking up in the tent to the sound of birds, the slow warmth kind of creeping into the tent, and the smell of something spicy being cooked.
Jacob is gonna get up and he's gonna pop out of his tent.
Yeah. Uh, Ilya and James are also starting to get up and dress and do things. When you pop out, you see what's her face? God damn it! I had a name. She has a name. I know a name. Nukiko. You see Nukiko, who is steering in a pot over a fire. There is yeah a lot of herbally uh, smells that you probably haven't smelled too often. Also African food for the win, guys. It's great. You have no idea. If you ever happen to be near an African restaurant, please go in. It's great. So, yeah, she's stirring in what seems to be like a sort of a stew-ish kind of thing. It smells spicy. Um, and she'll actually look up when she hears like the sound of you opening the tent flap, and she'll smile. Good morning, Raya. Uh, Jacob. Good morning, Jacob. Would you like breakfast?
Yeah, sure. What you got on?
Oh, these are leftovers from previous meals.
Oh,
We usually
okay.
use that for breakfast. It's good and gives you a nice base you know, to get you through the rest of the day. She'll just hand you a bowl, and it's like hot and steaming as stew. Looks like something you would probably be used to for dinner, but
Okay.
she'll also prepare food for, or same kind of bowls for Ilya and James. You see a couple of bowls that are already empty. One that is empty, but is also still very clean. How have you slept?
Pretty good, all things considered. Sorry, one of the. What about the bowls?
Basically, from the bowls, you can tell that there's like a bowl for every pack member. All of them have been, uh, well, there's probably two of them that are full, that have not been touched yet. There are two more that have been cleaned, or basically, have been cleaned of their food. You can still see that they've been used, and one of them is completely empty and clean, kind of indicating that that person has not been inside yet.
That person's eaten or hasn't eaten?
Yeah.
Right. No. No, what I mean is, does that mean that person's eaten or hasn't eaten?
That means that person is, I mean, basically, make of it what you want. There's one clean empty bowl. There are two not clean empty bowls. There are two bowls that are filled with food and are basically waiting to get eaten. The bowls,
Okay.
not the people. And then there's, of course, the three bowls for you guys.
Hmm. Lots of balls.
A lot of bowls, but it's easier to eat from a bowl.
I cannot remember all the numbers of the balls. I'm sure it won't matter.
I don't know, but if you want, it's two clean or two empty, not clean ones, two full
Okay.
ones.
Two clean balls. Two not clean
You
balls.
really want to see something in this? This is fine, yo.
I'm doing the. I'm wasting time on something that's probably not particularly relevant.
I mean, that's
And then
it's
there's
a
two
detail.
bowls full of food. Man, they got a lot of bowls.
There's yeah. So there's basically altogether there's five bowls
Oh,
besides the three for you.
oh, so one clean bowl, two not clean bowls, and two bowls full of food.
Yes.
Okay. Boom, math. You can do it. All right.
She'll invite you to come sit at the fire and have breakfast. Unless, of course, you prefer to eat in the tent.
No, I'll have breakfast with her.
Okay. She is she's gonna ask you questions about uh your life so far and how you've dealt with New York City. She seems to be very interested and excited about New York City. She's asking questions regarding how you can keep up the litany there, if veil breaches aren't constantly an issue, things like that. Like young Philodox interested questions about the area that you live in and your area of expertise.
Yeah.
Let's
Jacob answers generally earnestly.
hmm
Um, although when it comes to when it comes to the issue of keeping the veil, um, Jacob will say, "Well, glasswalkers help, but a lot of our time we just either don't put ourselves in that situation or uh, we end up dealing with it directly, usually just by just destroying the camera, the computers, which the cameras are connected to. Small work. That and having friends in the right places in the city is very helpful.
She nods and sort of seems to take mental notes.
It's kind of necessary in New York. You can't really get anything done unless you have a few contacts.
I see. I would really, really like to see New York. I've heard so many things about it, and it just sounds really impressive. So maybe if I can one day go there, would you mind being my host? I mean, actually, and her face kind of falls. Maybe not. Uh, I don't wanna blow your reputation being being a metis.
I mean, that's not really an issue for me in any way whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about it.
It's not. Oh, ah,
Well, it, How to say this? The Sept of the Green is probably the most radically progressive sept in the world, so
So, how do you treat someone like me then?
um generally speaking the same as everybody else. I mean, you still get people who don't, but for the most part, no, the set doesn't really take a stance on metis.
Oh, uh, my uncle said that I should be really careful if I would go to other places in the nation.
Um,
It's good to hear just that there's more than just here that I can be simply just be. Don't have to listen to all the well, noise.
yeah, and well, New York has a lot of noise to block a lot of that out. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on where you go in the world. Um, the Sept of the Green is kind of special in that regard, but even a lot of other septs, particularly Bonor and Shardagar septs, I mean, don't take particularly strong stances on Metis, I think, other than just don't be a dick.
Hmm. Well, maybe I would really like to visit New York then, if I ever get the opportunity. That is, of course.
Well, I mean, hmm, I think it depends. I guess it depends. If I complete my challenge, you might.
Oh, how come?
Oh yeah, you weren't around when I was talking about it for everybody else. That's right. The item or the artifact at the Twilight Shrine. I've been given a challenge to go get it, retrieve it. It's an artifact that's actually of significant importance to my tribe. It was actually used by Isaiah Morningkill way back in the day.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah,
S-
it's
Simba are not gonna like that, I think.
no, no. That's a bit of a tricky issue, I think. The other problem is that I've kind of quickly come to the realization, uh, based on information that Weaves the Fates has given me, that the reason this place has so little wormish entities within it is because of that artifact. It's basically effectively shielding the place within like 100-mile radius or something to that effect. I don't know the exact distance.
Was sort of already wondering why I never really sensed worm anywhere here.
Yeah, and obviously, if that item were to be removed, well, suddenly that shield falls, and everything clawing at the fringes is going to suddenly burst in, kind of like a dam breaking. Is what I'd imagine it to be like. And I think that's going to be bad for both the Simba and, well, all the Gara that actually live here.
And you plan on taking it, right?
It's what I've been tasked to do, and it's strange. It seems everybody I've met here seems to be interested in claiming that artifact. It seems it's drawn the spirits here, it's drawn us here, it's drawn Stingray here. Or rather, it's what Stingray wishes to claim to bring back to accept as a peace offering.
Yeah. So he told you.
What do you mean?
Uh, Well, I was just wondering if he told you why he needed to be suffering.
He didn't really elaborate much. Just that he angered some people.
Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounded really suspicious.
Hmm.
No, that's what Jacob says.
Oh, she's looking up at him and just sort of shrugs. I mean, I don't know the details. I was only a baby, I think, when that happened. I wasn't even a cub. And yeah, like you said, he sort of he doesn't speak about it very often, so yeah.
Hmm.
I don't wanna, you know. The times that he does speak about it, either he's extremely drunk and I don't want to profit from that. Plus, it's not always true when you say that. A lot of people that drunken people tell the truth. Or he just gets like, that silent, sad, angry and sort of, walks away. So I, I don't wanna, you know I don't want to see either of that, in all honesty.
I can understand that. I have to admit I'm curious, but I suppose that's just because I'm a philodox.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's per se a Philodox thing to be curious. To be inquisitive, sure, but I don't know. You are far more experienced in it than I am, so I guess that it might be a good thing. I'll keep it in mind to be more curious.
I think it's because obviously there's a story there, so I'm just kind of naturally inclined to investigate. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not here to cast judgment. It's not really what I'm supposed to be doing here. So
It's kind of strange, though, that you're a Philodox and you get the challenge to get an item.
well, there are a couple of reasons for that. One is that it's become clear to me that this situation is very politically complicated, like regarding the Gara and the Simba here. It seems to be this very much an on-off war with a lot of people on each side acting in a very sporadic, individually, very sporadic and individual fashion. Um, which I guess from an outsider's perspective, because I guess that's what I am, uh, it seems the fact that this artifact is here, combined with the fact that Gara and Farah relations are naturally tense,
Yeah.
has created a very unfortunately bloody situation. And then we have to take into account that removing this item is going to create even more problems. It sort of creates this odd stalemate.
I mean, I know that I am only a Cleat, but if you considered dropping your challenge, just leave it be.
I could, but that wouldn't improve the situation here. So even if I am to drop my challenge, then I'm at least going to see if I can fix something here first. I'd rather not add to the region's problems,
Well,
but I feel obligated to at least intervene in some fashion. This just feels... it doesn't sit right with me.
well, it's sort of like these problems won't like they've been going on for about a year now, I think. Before that, everything was actually rather, sort of peacefully, I guess. I mean, awkward peacefully, but on a good day, we could even trade with some of the Simba.
Okay. What happened a year ago then? If everything was peaceful, then what tipped everything over the edge?
I'm not exactly sure, but it had something to do with our theurge.
Okay.
Um, it, the theurge before Tiana, he was he was one of our main contacts with the Simba, and they even sort of quote unquote allowed him to come to their place, and then he just came back one day, and he just had like a strange look in his eyes, and he started talking to Stephen, and then he went off for a couple of more weeks, and that's sort of when Stephen started to gather more weapons. He didn't really want to tell me much about it. Said I didn't need to worry about it too much. To be fair, I'm only here for like 2 years now, so it's been 1 year of quiet, and then another year of not so quiet. We never really had a big combat until like at least not that scale big until like a year or a week and a half ago. Angry typing intensifies.
Oh, I can. There you go.
Called it.
Um, okay. Just out of character. So the old Fjord
Huh?
spoke of Stingray. Stingray started gathering weapons. Then the Fjord disappeared again.
Uh, she just said the theurge disappeared, and then Stingray started, gathering supplies, which, amongst other things, were weapons.
Okay. So he disappeared for a while, came back, seemed changed, spoke of Stingray, who started gathering weapons, then what's his face disappeared a second time.
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
His face was called. And she kind of sniggers. Climbs the mountain.
climbs the mountain. Huh.
Yeah, he got the deed name because he he actually did get to.
So he actually got into Kilimanjaro.
We're not quite sure. He always said when he got back and we asked him about it, because a couple of us did. He always said that he was not really. He said that he promised that he wouldn't speak of it, and since there was not really anything wrong per se, we just didn't kind of, we kind of respected that.
It wouldn't be the first time. A couple of my actions are under similar lock and key with the spirits. But, that's interesting. I should ask Stingray about that then. That does seem odd, if things are working out. Was the can some distance from here, was that active back then?
No.
How long has that can been there?
It was here when I got here.
Have there been efforts to reawaken it? The moon bridge is still active.
I believe another pack was dealing with that. It's kind of, invested in trying to rekindle it, but well, the thing was, between us, the other Garu packs, it didn't really work well together with, us, nor with each other, to be fair, but I don't know, there was always like small things, small annoyances, small grievances, nothing to like go to war over or, even get into disputes, but we just kind of kept to ourselves a lot.
Mm,
So I don't think one pack really had the oomph to, you know, get the can going all by itself. You need to have several people working together for that, at least, I think. Else there would be a lot more sept.
yeah, I mean, it seems like you guys had the numbers to look after if you ever went for it. At least until recently.
Or faces drops, yeah. I mean, even among the packs, even if we didn't really cooperate that well, there was always like, you know, that one individual that you were kind of okay with and you talked to, and we did have gatherings with the packs, but never really. We were never really together, right? Like on one line. It's just yeah.
You wouldn't happen to know if there are any packs outside you guys left here, would you?
I I don't really know. Like all the packs we knew were involved in that big battle, and as far as we could see, there wasn't really much left. I mean, it's yeah, and I mean, I know Ulysses traveled like around to try and find his pack or whatever was left of it. He didn't find anyone after like the fight, but nothing but us. So I don't know if they are still here. Then I guess they're well hidden.
Okay.
But I can't imagine that Ulysses wouldn't have been able to find any.
No, I think that's fair. I noticed car tracks leading up to the main location. Who was
Yeah.
driving?
Tiana.
It was your car?
Yeah.
Did Jacob see a vehicle anywhere around this camp?
Yep.
Oh, fair enough.
I even described that to you.
Oops. Oops. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah, it was just something I sort of recognized as a anomaly in all the tracks. I was just interested.
We no, it was there just, supplies and to help like anyone getting wounded from the battle again, It's at first it just seemed to go well, so, you know, she returned with the car before the actual combat was over.
Oh.
So, Jacob, what are you gonna do now?
First thing I gotta sort out is this situation of Itoro. I'm not I'm not comfortable with that situation at all. Then I want to see if I can find some sort of resolution to this conflict. I'm surprised it's been going on not as long as I expected. I'm actually quite surprised to hear it's only been going on a year.
A lot can happen in a year.
Hmm. But it still means that this is fresh enough that perhaps it can be stopped somehow. I think there is a way this can be resolved. If there was peace between December and Nagara here once, then it's clear there can be again. But I think that will be contingent on why this conflict started to begin with. Seems like this Fjord was the main liaison between your group and the Simba, and then he said something that really rattled Stingray. Which is
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
that's there's obviously something there. And maybe if we can find out why this is happening, then maybe it can be resolved. At the very least, regardless of how this ends, of what happens to that artifact, uh, there's no real benefit or win for either side to continue fighting.
I don't know.
And that's
She just kind of stops mid sentence, or well, beginning of sentence. Seems to be listening for a moment and just stands up and takes both the bowls that are still full. I have to feed the prisoner. I'll talk to you later, Jacob.
yeah. I think I'll talk to her in a bit. Does she take food from you?
Mm, she hasn't so far. I've been trying though.
Mm,
Maybe, maybe if I do it like you did yesterday, taste it before she eats it, then maybe I'm gonna try.
maybe. Maybe she'll be a bit more ease if I'm with you. She seems at least willing to engage with me.
She she just stays quiet for a little longer than would be just her overthinking it, and then she'll nod. Yeah, yeah, of course you can come along. That's fine.
Hmm. Cool. I assume Ulysses and Sting are out, or are they just asleep?
She'll just kind of glance at the clean bowl that's not been used and says, "I haven't seen Ulysses yet. My uncle is I don't know. He left. He's not far away though." This sort of came like an afterthought, almost as if she's been told to say that.
Yeah, yeah. Jacob can sense pack link shenanigans when he sees it.
So she'll stand up and she'll take both bowls and she'll wait for you. And at that point, both Ilya and James kind of look up at you and be like, that question, "Do you want us to come?" is sort of like on their faces. They don't actually speak it out loud. It's just that silence. Yo, you need support.
Sure, let's bring the whole Scooby gang. Scooby gang.
Okay, so the four of you will, head into the tent. James will actually be polite enough, or of course courteous enough, to hold open the flap for uh, basically all of you. 'Cause he's a nice guy like that.
What a
You
nice
know,
guy.
what a nice guy. And yeah, you enter like the tent. There's not really a light anymore. It's not that dark inside. A bit how do you say that? Not gloomy, not shady, but
Jim.
yeah, because the tent like it's made from pretty heavy fabric, so not a whole lot of light comes through, and it doesn't have any kind of windows or that silly plastic stuff that you see on like these big tents that people use on camping trips. And yeah, there's the cage, and in the cage is Toro, and she's awake.
I'm gonna make that one roll again. Um, choose 6 dice. Yay! I succeed.
Okay.
I can speak her language.
Yes.
I'll change Jacob's overlay real quick because he's not wearing a cop uniform at all.
think someone else, at least one other person, will also make that roll. Let me see. James, Ilya, do you have it? Yes. Almost as if they've been chosen because they have this. They both have it.
Hooray.
Hooray! Yay! Ta-da-ta-da-ta-da, You know what? Since you already got it, I just gonna kind of hand wave that they have. They managed to activate it as well, cause unless it really becomes a problem when one of them should not have, then I'll make the roll. But yeah. So they're both kind of lingering, like a little behind you. Just James actually still has his bowl with him. It's just casually kind of eating. It didn't bother to bring hers. She ate a couple of she ate a bit, but not everything. And yeah, Itoro is looking at all of you. It's very silently watching as you approach.
Morning.
No
Uh,
response, of course. Uh, Nikika will sit next to the cage and well, first she sort of offers the bowl, but will very quickly have to retract her hand as a claw is definitely coming towards it.
okay.
And yeah, she's just trying to talk to the lion. It's like it's fine, you can eat it. We all ate it. Look, I even brought my own bowl. It's from the same kettle, really. She'll go ahead and eat from both bowls and will then again try and place one, but again is sort of met with a claw. You don't like it, or would you rather not have it? I mean, it would really help if you would just uh, talk instead of just. She just sort of sighs and look up at Jacob. She has been actually speaking in their native language, or a native language that you luckily can understand now.
Hooray.
Hooray! I mean, of course, I feel I need to point out that, of course, there's a lot of difference between whatever language they speak in Kenya, whatever they speak in South Africa. I know this, and the story, I'm well aware of this. But
Please don't at me.
right. But yeah, she's been picking up the local language, been studying it. So there would be an accent, but it's she can make herself known in this language.
Hmm.
She's been living in this area for 2 years.
Well, if if Nukiko's having a bit of problems, having a bit of a problem just handing over the bowl,
Hmm.
Jacob will just do it.
At this point, there's not a clock coming. Someone at the door for some reason. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Bye bye. Hmm?
I'm back. My apologies. There was someone at the door who was trying to raise money for stuff.
Do you have a moment to talk about our one true savior guy?
It's like that, yeah.
um. Yeah. They could just kind of, just won't like snatch it out of Yukiko's hands or anything. He actually just kind of politely gestures to take it, and then Anna is just going to hand it off to Itoro.
Yeah, Nikiko has no issues with you trying it. She actually looks sort of grateful. And Itoro, she'll not slap at you. Uh, she'll just sort of sit there and will then, sniff the ball and will then try and put her nose in it, but oh woe is hers. It's just not big enough for her nose to properly fit in there, so she'll lick as much as she can, but then realizes that this is not really getting her all the food that she sort of wants, which is annoying. You can actually sort of hear her growl, uh, semi annoyed. You can probably tell. Her tail is like flopping back and forth in that annoyed cat manner. It's not yet gonna change though. But you see that she's like pondering this conundrum, and there's definitely like she has to choose between eating more of the food uh, that she really really desperately wants because she's hungry, and shifting, because in a way that means giving up. I mean, Jacob knows something about a lion. I don't know why. Maybe because of a totem. And they're very proud creatures, as he might know because of his totem.
Yes. She's just not liking the
Uh,
foods.
I mean, she's liking the food. She wants more of it, but at the same time, she's like, I don't want to give up and shift. But she'll, I'll make her roll willpower to see if the temptation of the food is enough. Difficulty 8.
Oh,
Oof,
she succeeds.
she barely succeeds. So she'll just, when she can't lick it clean anymore, she'll just sit there, nose high up in the air, and will just sort of, with one paw, as a cat that kind of pushes that glass off the table, will look at you very defiantly and then poops over the bowl.
Well, I'm glad to see you're eating at least. I had a question to ask you. I'm not sure if you know the answer. It might sound a little strange.
She is looking at you and she's hearing you.
I learned that this war started a year ago. Do you know what caused it?
And she'll just, point her nose in Nikiko's direction. They started it.
Can you tell me what happened?
I heard that one of theirs betrayed us.
Do you know their name?
My Kuasha wouldn't tell me. He just called him traitor.
Sorry, what did she say? Her.
Kuasha.
Can you tell me what kosher means? I haven't heard that term before.
She looks very, very dignified and like too good for you. You would almost see, like, you can see her eyes kind of getting smaller as she's half closing them, more like in a way a cat would sit in like the sunlight, and you could swear she's on the brink of purring in like absolute delight that she knows something that you do not. Kuasha, my Kuasha is the one that is showing me, is teaching me. He knows much, if not all.
I was not actually that far off spelling it correctly. I'm impressed with myself. They only got the first letter wrong.
I really hope that I'm pronouncing all the names and things right.
It's okay. It's part of the journey. Okay. Hmm. So they are like a mentor?
Yeah.
That's what Jacob asks.
Ah, yes.
Hmm. Jacob's eyes kind of linger off to the side for a moment, just kind of processing that new information. She said he, right?
Yes.
Boom. I could be a terrible person.
I mean, if you want to.
But I'm not gonna be. I'm playing Jacob. But if I wanted to be that asshole psychoanalyst Shadow Lord, um,
I mean, you have psychology on your sheet.
that's true. Um, does Aquasha have a name?
Yes,
Can you tell me their name?
I can.
The silence is that long.
Oh, yes.
Because Jacob's like, oh, you're gonna make me fucking work for this. Oh, what's their name?
I will not tell you.
Yeah, I figured. He says. She can probably get the sense of she won this round.
Yeah, she looks very pleased with herself, actually,
Ah,
despite the
that's
fact that, she's still skinny and obviously, like, her wounds have not healed yet, so she can't be completely comfortable. Cage is just not large enough for her to actually sit upright. But she's trying to make it look like she's the queen on her throne and you're like the pet mouse that she's toying with.
why are so few of your wounds healing?
I do not know.
To my understanding, all of us regenerate.
Not in our normal form. Or would you say normal? Let me actually throw in a little bit of lingo there. Oh no, no, she'll say in her normal form for now.
Why are you choosing not to heal yourself?
Because then they can hurt me more.
Hmm. How does Nukiko react to that?
Uh, you can see that she looks kind of embarrassed. She's sort of staring at the ground. Doesn't like it shifts a little uneasy as Itoro is saying that.
That's fair.
You may be their new trick. I'm not falling for it.
That's also fair. I can only assume if I were in your situation, I'd also be questioning whether or not that was a trick. Then allow me to be honest with you about why I'm here.
You are here to steal the harp.
A member of my tribe used it once. It's actually something of a mystery to us how it even wound up here at all. You probably haven't heard of the person who used it to uh, unite the tribes of my kind, but well, they were our monarch.
And now it is ours. It is no longer yours. If you valued it so much, you would not have lost it. We value it. We will not lose it.
Well, that's the interesting thing. My tribe had it under very tight lock and key. Um, how
Then
long ago
that
was it?
says enough about your tribe, does it? That was an insult, by the way.
Yeah. No. Well, how long ago was this thing stolen?
How long was it ago was it stolen?
Let me double check, see if I got
I
anything.
mean, it disappeared. Um, not too long after Isaiah sacrificed himself.
Okay. So over a
I'm not,
century ago then.
yeah, I'm not quite sure if I actually gave you that info, but hey, now you know. I'm fine with it. If
It
you
dis
didn't know, then
yeah.
it's
It it was stolen from us a very long time ago. Again, we don't actually know how it wound up here, just that it's here.
and now it is ours.
I also know that if the harp is removed, well, do you know what happened if the harp is removed?
My Kwashi says that these grounds will be blackened with blood.
Vulnerable.
No, he said blackened with blood. There will be
Black?
no. Yes, there will be so much blood that it is black, not red. That is what he says. He is a wise man.
Jake kind of squints. The harp draws in Gaian's spirit
Yes.
and effectively shields the place from the worm.
So if you take it away, our lands will no longer be in peace, at peace.
That's the problem I'm facing right now. Because on one hand, obviously, when I'm given an order, well, when I'm given a challenge from my king, obviously I'm honor bound to stick by it. At the same time, to render these lands vulnerable would be dangerous in the extreme.
You seem to think that you could actually get it. You are wrong.
I'm not really here to argue over that possibility.
Then why are you here?
Truth be told, I knew the harp was here before I had even accepted the challenge. It was part of the information that was given to me. If I wished to take it by force, I wouldn't be here. In fact, we'd have never met. No, maybe that conflict only ends one way, maybe it ends two ways, but it doesn't really matter. My point is, I don't want to take it by force, and I'm not really okay with what's happened to you either. This entire situation is horrendous. I basically came here to find that my people had lured themselves to, well, torturing a people they should be working with.
Your people have never worked with my people.
I heard we were at peace at least a year ago, though.
I was not there, but I heard as well. But obviously it was false.
Jacob kind of thinks for a second, and he looks a bit curious again, and you only changed recently, didn't you?
What does that matter to you?
Just gives me a bit of a better understanding. There's actually a bit of parallel between our societies, I've just found out. Hmm. He kind of muses on that for a moment. I guess your Quashon might be like our den parents. And that makes this worse. Do you know about... I'm not sure what your people call it, but do you know about... Do you know about the Khan?
I do not know.
It was one of the places where the big battle took place a week and a half ago.
Ah, what does that have to do with this?
It's how I got here. It's a place of spiritual power, but it's been abandoned for some time.
Because there is a better place.
I was going somewhere with this.
You will probably be going out of this tent at some point.
I want to resolve the situation between the Simba and the Garu. Here specifically.
You can.
A lot of us here don't have the option of leaving. I'm actually one of the people who does.
You can resolve. It is really simple.
Jacob is waiting for her to actually follow through, by the way.
Oh, she's waiting for him to say how or what. Like, she's clearly enjoying that she knows something that you do not.
How?
You can kill them and then leave. The kicker does actually look shocked at that. And at that point, Stephen will also enter the tent. Almost as if he heard. Or as if he was been following.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Jacob just kind of sighs heavily.
Stephen
Yeah,
will
I
just
may
stay
have, I
and
may have, I may have missed the part where I said I wish to resolve this non-violently.
Stephen from, at the entrance will just sort of cough.
Hey,
I see that your talking thing goes very well.
um, I'm honestly surprised at how far we've come along. I kind of expected a straight week of silence and sneering. I'm very grateful you haven't done that, by the way.
Itoro will just So, Jacob, have you learned anything? Stephen will ask. Stingray will ask.
I have. I'd rather it not be weaponized. To be fair, I don't think a lot of it can be weaponized, which I actually think is quite helpful.
Hmm.
You've been torturing the equivalent of a cub, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew that.
I did not.
I think I need to. I need to talk to you about how this all started.
I may have heard something like that. Because he also realizes that Jacob is not a fool, and Packling is a universal Garu thing.
Yeah, it's kind of something Olgar indulge in. So Olgars of
Yeah.
packs. It's a fairly well-known phenomena. So yeah. Um, well, I've learned some interesting things from everyone here, actually. Um, that you were at peace around a year ago when something happened, and that Itora here seems to be under the erroneous belief that we weren't at peace. Which, to be honest, is because she's being proud. I'm not going to lie. But
I'm not sure if peace. There was. I mean, peace might be too big a word. Sorry, the pronunciation. But there was some contact, and there was no violence between Garu, who lived here, and Simba.
it was an understanding.
Yes. We even had a small community of kinfolk with our pack. We
Hmm.
could trade.
Oh, pardon?
We could trade a little. We did occasionally when we had something that they liked and they had something we liked, just a sort of direct, I give you this, you give me that thing. No money or strange promises were involved. You see what you get what you see.
Was the instrument already in the Simba's hands at that point? I'm trying to get a timescale as to when it appeared here.
As far as we know, it's always been here.
That's so strange.
Why?
I believe I mentioned to you it was used by Isaiah Morningkill about coming up about a century and a half ago now.
Yes, I heard
Then
you say that.
after his not long after his death, it was stolen from us, and then it wound up here. It's just such a strange place for it to end up at. I can only assume it must have traded hands a lot of times.
I
So,
would not be able to tell you that history. All I know is that when I came here, this was already a very peaceful area.
hmm. I heard there was a liaison between the Gara and the Simbos, a Fierge. climbs the mountains?
Yes. Yes, he was a previous Theurge before Tiana joined.
All I've been told is that at some point around a year ago, he came back to you changed. Then suddenly there was an arms race of sorts, and he vanished again.
He didn't vanish.
Can you give me the full story?
Follow me.
Alright.
And it'll lead you out and back to, like, their sort of main gathering point.
Yeah, Jacob will just tell Litora he'll be back soon.
She'll won't even reply, looking away from you very pointedly, almost daring you to. And yeah, Stephen will lead you to the back to this, basically the cooking fire. Sit down. Ukiko actually stays in the tent. Um, and he sits down, invites you to do the same. Actually, did you get James and Ilya to, like, they're basically following you?
Yeah.
Okay. No, just so you're aware that they won't do anything besides following you unless you specifically state that out.
Okay, cool.
Like, for instance, for one of them to stay in the tent or something.
I mean, actually, I'll have Ilya stay in the tent just because she seems approachable.
Okay. Ilya will nod and will stay behind with the two other girls, and James will follow the man. Classic role model pattern established.
And you butchered that quip, huh?
Yeah, I did. I was like, this is funny. Oh boy, I fucked up. Oh well. It's fine. It just makes it extra funny, except now the joke's on me.
No, thanks.
So yeah, Stephen will rub his hands and just looks in like the sort of embers that are still like there in the fire. It's like brought down to a real low, like sort of glow more than an actual flame, because breakfast has been cooked and they don't need the warmth of the fire right now.
Yeah.
Walk the mountain did not disappear. I sent him to the other paths. Share his story with them.
What do you say to share a story of the other packs?
Yeah, his story, he said specifically. Share his story with the other packs.
Would you mind telling me his story?
He He had spent years and years talking with those pussies. The Simba, of course. He will, correct himself. They were fond of him, and he was curious about them. There, he was actually the one that got us most of the information of what's actually happening there. He he eventually won their trust enough so that they were willing to share the inside of their, you know, sanctuary, sanctum. He was the one that actually found out about this harp. Apparently, though, something in his mind snapped. He kept saying something about lost friends and the dead that were talking to him. I'm not sure why he went the way he was, but obviously they must have lured him into a trap. Anyway, he did find out about this harp. And he mentioned an old spirit telling him that it was placed here.
Did he mention why?
Quite frankly, I did not ask. He did mention, however, that for a very long time it was a very powerful item, object, musical instrument. Let me get this straight. Brings the mountain.
Climbs the
Walks the
mountain.
mountain. Climbs the
What?
mountain. Whatever. I don't know. I thought I said walks the mountain the
It was
first time,
climbs
but
the mountain.
it was climbs the mountain. It's fine. Climbs the mountain was raving mad. Sort of burning up inside. He was acting in a very strange way, but he did say that in his sort of fever story, one of the things he kept mentioning was how it helped for 13 to become one. I have the number correct. I'm not sure if I have the number correct.
Given what I know about that instrument and what it was used for,
Hmm.
that might be the effects of the instrument upon him.
We don't know. We finally, that was not too long ago, we decided to take him to a step where we hope to find enough healing to cure him as his madness started to affect his body. He became strangely ill. I don't have another way to put it. But either we were too late or there was no cure to begin with. He died not too long ago. Tiana, however, was interested and decided to come along.
Jacob kind of reflects on the rather eerie implication that this harp has, given that it was used by a Silver Fang, and the Silver Fangs have a reputation of being connected to madness.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
But then that brings into question, if it was having an effect on him, then what effect is it having on that Simba?
Stephen just, shrugs.
I mean, if it now was just one person, it could be affecting all of them. Do we know who this old spirit was?
No.
Hmm.
At least I do not know. Then again, I'm not a theurist. It was not necessarily my interest.
But wait, why did you start gathering arms when he mentioned he discovered the harp? What caused you to suddenly start gathering weapons?
It was a Gaian object. It's 13 become 1. I mean, obviously it belonged to the Garou. And as I said, I wanted to present it to my sept.
Okay. Jacob, oh God. Jacob just kind of rubbing his forehead, and I mean it's really hot. He's probably a little bit sweaty.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah, it's been growing increasingly hot.
and just kind of looks very frustrated of something. Uh, that's that's really frustrating. Okay. So a spirit placed a Gaian object that clearly has strong connections to the Gara. I mean, if not outright belonging to us, but it was placed in a Simba sanctuary. Something's not adding up here. There has to be a purpose to this. Why would a spirit do something like that? Particularly one that's supposedly old and powerful. I mean, I don't doubt it, but
Stingray was spoke again. It is not my place to question what a theurge says about a spirit. Since the other half of the time he was raging on about dead and lost friends, it's quite frankly, it was hard to even be sure about this part of the story.
I have to wonder if it calls them to go on about the dead, if it has some sort of connection to ancestral lands.
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Just feels like, I don't know, that's a pretty big piece of the puzzle I'm missing.
I mean, why do you even bother with the puzzle?
Jacob looks a bit puzzled himself now, as he just goes, that's kind of my job.
Not really. Your job is to take the fetish. Because I presume that's what it is. Look, I've been thinking about this last night. There's enough honor to be gained in helping you proclaim or procure this item, this harp, for the High King. I am sure that if word gets around that we assisted, that, well, things will look favorably for me as well. Let's just go. We're both Adrian. Got a bunch of Foster with us. We can easily take those cats. You get your challenge, you become Athro, I get a good name and can go back home like I wanted. I don't see a problem here.
If that instrument is taken from this place, the shield the safety it's providing every spirit here, it's going to burst like a dam. The worm will flood into this place.
I mean, it will flood no more than it's now been flooding on the outside. Those veins aren't suddenly multiplying. They just move from one location to another. It's called migration. Animals do it, veins do it. It's only the natural cause of things. I mean, if you look at this, however nice and peaceful it is, and I will admit this is exactly why I came here, ultimately, it's only held in place by an item, so it's not necessarily natural. It's idyllic and idealistic and, you know, but sure, you know, nature will run its course. It's not like it's gonna create some, like, Bane only country now. There's still Gaian spirits here that are strong, probably. They can fight. We don't need to kill the Simba. They can defend these lands.
I mean, you said it yourself last night, they're already gone back to lick their wounds. We move in with our current forces, regardless of who wins.
Maybe we won't even need to win. Maybe just with our current forces, we head up the mountain. We can intimidate them. We bring the little thing as a token that we are not brutal murderers, and we'll just go up, have a conversation, see if we can do it your way.
I would like to converse as opposed to fight. It's true. And if anyone can fill me in on the missing thread, that's running throughout this entire situation, it would be the other side. Itoro's under the impression that the Garu betrayed whatever pact existed with the Simba at the time. That's what she was told. She doesn't actually know that much. As I said, she's the equivalent of a cub.
She knows how to get to them. She knows their paths. That's all we need to know. Something we still need to know. If we want to talk to them, we first got to meet them. Whether it's for talking or fighting, meeting is one of the things that we need to do.
That's true. Granted, the truth is paramount. By the way, where is Ulysses?
Still out there. As he kind of, looks into the direction of the foresty area.
He's been gone a while.
I send him out for the night.
He says night, as it's literally the middle of the day.
I mean, you woke up with the sound of birds and the sun rising. We're not even 2 hours after that.
That's
It's
true.
early morning.
Yeah, that's true. It's still fairly early morning, yeah.
Don't try and out narrate the narrator. Please.
Please.
Don't try and find loopholes that aren't there. God damn it.
Don't at me. Don't at me, player. But little did you know, I at everyone. um. Itara's gonna be a difficult. It's gonna be difficult to get to. She's
Tell
frat.
me this like it's a new thing.
I think I can reach her though.
Well, if you can persuade her to guide us to her people, would be a start.
Mm. Um, I had another query for you because I don't know too much about it.
Could
Did
always
you
ask.
said some packs have been trying to get that old cairn started up again? because it seems to have been inactive for some time.
It was deserted and dead as it was for, well, longer than I've been here.
That's a shame. The instrument provided a pretty unique opportunity here.
We've never really gotten along with the other packs until recently. But, yeah, I know people have tried, but you know what? At that point, I was kind of done with. I liked my life as it was very simple.
Yeah, I can understand what it's like to fight for yourself out in a place you don't want to be in.
I can imagine New York is not your particular fond idea of haven.
I wasn't referring to New York. New York's actually
Oh,
my preferred port. I was referring to the Amazon.
oh, I see. My apologies.
We got shunted there when a certain, shall we say, faction of my tribe decided to move themselves entirely to New York and, well, try and kill all of us for very factually incorrect reasons, which led to most of them dying and, well, a hellhole being created in their own fucking territory.
Sounds very much like a thing that happens in a nation.
Yeah, yeah, and, well, I can't say this place is much different, as sad as it is to say. It's kind of why I'm pushing so hard for, well, for as short a time as I've been here, for some form of ceasefire understanding, at least a reversing to the status quo. But we'll see. I'll have a chat with Tora and see if I can convince her.
Sure. Do you want me to come along?
Uh, she seems very. She doesn't respond well to any of you, even Nukiko.
Yeah.
But I understand Nukiko hasn't been involved in what's been going on, right?
Mm, I mean, no, no, no. Kiko is she's a sweet kid, really.
I'm gonna truth or guard a statement because it does come across as ever so slightly unconvinced.
Mm.
So I assume he's telling the truth when he says she's not been involved.
Yeah.
That's good. Has she made her frustrations known? She hasn't been very happy about the situation. I mean, I'm not assuming you have been, but
She and I talked. She understands why she doesn't like it.
yeah.
She's still young. She hasn't gone through what we have gone through. And with we, he is looking at you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, you know where I stand on this one, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm very much aware, and
I do
I
honestly understand. I mean, as you said, like, I mean, I'm
I
not going
want this
to.
conflict to be over. Let me get that absolutely straight.
Oh yeah, I think at the end of the day, for one moment, well, I might need to take that break now, but I'll just finish up this
Okay,
conversation. Um,
we can stop with you entering the tent.
hmm, you're right. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think ultimately it's just I think we're both in agreement to some extent or another. So yeah, I'll see if I can get Itoro to show us the way. And I don't know, maybe an olive branch of some sort will I don't know, will convince her that. I mean,
You can go ahead. You
yeah,
can, but Nukiko will stay there. It's a good lesson for her. You are of her auspice after all.
yeah, and I mean, as I said, I think I could teach her a few things. And hell, if I do manage to reach out to Itoro, I mean, I feel like that's going to be a lesson she's going to remember, given how hard it's been.
Indeed. I will wait here till you return.
Yeah. And thanks for chat. I appreciate it.
Absolutely no problem.
Yeah. And I mean, if you haven't already informed Ulysses on the situation, then feel free to. I just don't want him to come back and start doing something that's kind of going to invert all the progress we've already made.
The lad is just troubled.
I know it's what,
Two-minute situation,
but I'll see you in a bit.
of course.
And
And
yeah,
yeah, with Jacob entering the tent, we will pause the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, future watchers, for watching. And well, maybe later, maybe next week. Bye.
bye.